there, Pisces. Welcome to your mid-March 2023 General Tarot Update. It's Raina here. Okay, I'm going to be doing my typical spread, and I'm also going to be picking a card from my new deck. And I didn't bring it. It's called Star Codes. And it actually is astrology based, so it's going to be really cool. And you're the first sign that's going to have a card picked for that. So you should be happy. Happy birthday to those of you who are born in at this time of year. All Pisces, I'll wish you a happy birthday. What the heck? Okay. Alrighty then. The heart of the matter is the King of Wands, and this is a card of either embodying or wanting to embody the qualities of this individual. This is kind of like the alpha male, but I would call it like the divine masculine. We've seen the toxic versions of toxic masculinity and femininity in our society, which tends to be topsy-turvy. But the divine masculine exists, and it's that part of ourselves which makes us feel like we have stepped into our own power. And when we are truly powerful, we don't feel guilty for saying no because we're taking care of ourselves. I'm not talking about self-absorption, selfishness, narcissism. I'm talking about that part of ourselves which is in touch with what our needs are in connection with that of others, and also of our ultimate autonomy, that we are not, dependent on someone else to make something happen. So I remember when I was just applying to all these places and trying to get a job, and then my partner said to me, hire yourself, or something to that effect, because he had his own business. And I was like, what? And it's something I never thought of. And it kind of came back to me years later when I finally did what I'm doing right now, is that I just decided, hey, I can do something on my own. I always was programmed to think that it came outside me. Now, I'm not a sun in Pisces, but it doesn't matter. This is just like maybe a synchronistic message that you need to hear at this particular moment. In the past position is the Nine of Swords, and this is a card of anxiety. They depict it as somebody who feels like their hands are tied. And sometimes, when somebody feels like their hands are tied, that's a feeling of helplessness. Helplessness is something that is an illusion at some level. Even somebody who's a prisoner can still be free in their mind if they choose to be. And there are people who have said as much. And it's not about outer freedom, because the King of Wands is all about freedom. But there is an inner freedom and an outer freedom. The outer freedom ultimately is superficial. It's not really where it's at. It's not really the true freedom. Comes when you make up your mind that you are free, and so your actions dictate that. And there's no more blaming, there's no more waiting. There's not a waiting game of like, when is somebody going to love me, hire me, whatever. You're in the driver's seat, the captain of your own ship. The higher message is the Knight of Swords. This can also speak to behavioral changes or things that you need to do, which means speaking up, speaking your truth, being very straightforward, not being evasive, Pisces people are very, very afraid of hurting people's feelings. Most of them, I've met, I've met Pisces that don't really resemble the classic model. So there are always outliers in this world, aren't there? And you know, what I tell people is you're a person too. So all of the things that you're afraid of doing to other people, like offending them or whatnot, why is it okay to do that to yourself? It's not. You have rights too. You have needs too. And you should be able to get them met. And if someone isn't wanting to do that, then, what can you say? That's on them, because you may feel the sense of like, well, I can still make this happen on my own. I don't need somebody else to do so. What crosses you is the moon card. This is actually connected to your sign, Pisces. And this is a card in the more challenging sense of deception, including self-deception. It's this idea of confusion. Maybe this is showing that you don't have a clear idea in your head about something, so it's very hard for you to know which route to take because you don't really know what's going on. You don't really know what to do about something. So, for instance, let's say that you're in a relationship with somebody who makes you feel anxious for whatever reason. You may be like, I need to get my act together. I need to be strong. And you may be trying to muster up what the King of Wands represents, but the Moon card might be kind of seducing you to kind of lie to yourself, to create an alternative narrative. If this is work related, you may feel a strong urge to be creative, to maybe this has to do with the type of work that you're doing, but you have turned your back on it maybe, or you don't value it enough. And so it's very hard to step into the power of that when you do not have enough respect for your own talent. Sometimes this can be self-doubt, but sometimes this can be simply that the person has been kind of conditioned to believe that that kind of thing isn't really where it's at. So that kind of like the kind of Pisces people who tend to be very almost like Virgos in a sense. I think that a lot of times they're repressing so much because maybe they did come from a lot of trauma and chaos in their childhood, and it's the idea of having the kind of job where you don't know day to day how much money you're going to make. Maybe that's way too chaotic for them coming from that background. So they adopt the very sensible, pragmatic attitude of a Virgo, but it's not who they are. They can become chameleons, but it doesn't mean that that's really where they're at in terms of what they came here to be in this world as Sun in Pisces. What is coming in is the Queen of Cups. This is definitely, right up your alley. I've heard that this is Cancer. That makes a lot of sense to me. Queen can be the mother and Cancer is the mother. Although, some people, I think they've said even Scorpio, but that I might be confusing that with the Six of Cups. So with the Queen of Cups, this is really for those of you who are artists or mystics, that this is kind of your sign. This is kind of like the green light, the okay from the universe to step into that power that the King of Wands represents. Maybe you've been downgrading it for some reason. Well, now is the time to do that. I'm not saying that you quit your job tomorrow if you're still in a job, but you realize I have a feeling that, the Nine of Swords is right above that Queen of Cups. I have a feeling that if you have kind of put your artistic um, life on a shelf, if you have if you like consider yourself a healer and maybe you dabbled in some of those things, but then you kind of put it aside, that if you start to get back into that, Pisces, that will automatically loosen those chains that bind you. It's simply that for some reason you rejected that part of yourself, and now is the perfect time to go for it. Saturn is in your sign. So Saturn is asking you to get serious about your talents and what you want to accomplish, your goals. And the outcome is the Judgment card. This is a card of rebirth. And you see that it looks to me like fire. So I see judgment, baptism by fire. So not to say that it's an easy route sometimes, but at a certain point, it becomes the only one. It becomes the only thing that stands between you and that sense of fulfilling your destiny. So anyway, that's what I have for you, Pisces. I hope that this resonated. If you would like a private reading, I'm primarily an astrologer. I'm promoting my double readings called Deep Dive Readings. I also have one with the tarot called Whole Enchilada. And these are package deals, so there's a discount, and it provides just more information and more of an extended reading than a typical reading. But I have those as well, those standalone readings. You can find out more information at the link below. I'm at RainaMoonAstrology.com. Thank you for listening or watching, and both. Bye. Oh my gosh, Pisces. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't do Pisces Oracle card. What am I thinking? I should have actually put it out while I was putting out the other cards. So this is what it looks like. And all right. Oh my God. I when I put it down on the table, I went like this, and then I turned it over. I'm like, and you know what? I think I was going to say to you, well, maybe I'll get Saturn, because I knew that they had all the planets. Oh, that's too freaky. And they, with the little booklet, and the reason I say it's freaky is because I was just talking about Saturn going into Pisces, which it just did a few days ago on the 7th. Oh my gosh. And like I said, this is about creating structure in your life. Neptune is about dissolving boundaries. So this transit of Pisces, of Saturn into Pisces for the next few years, can really help you to embody that, because you also have your ruler Neptune in your sign at the same time. So Pisces people are having these two long-range planets transiting their sign. Of course, Neptune's a lot longer than Saturn, but that's amazing. And the other thing too is about authority figures, because Saturn can represent that, and that's at the 10th house that Saturn rules. And so, do you tend to give away your power to perceived authority figures? And this can even be people that you don't know, like if someone who's supposedly an expert, because ultimately all the decisions we make that impact us, they impact us. You know, people can tell us what to do from afar, but they're not going to be the one left holding the bag if it doesn't work out the way that they said it would. You're going to be the one. So, you know, and I remember reading, you know, a couple of books about financial advice, or what do you call it? Like, you know, those types of books. It wasn't like Law of Attraction. It was just like actually having financial sense. And I was reading some of this and it really didn't resonate with me. It didn't seem how I would live my life. And, you know, I realize now that people are coming from their own perspectives. And yes, maybe they have made it big in their field, and so people normally think they hold all the answers. But you can't really say that. You can't really say that what works for one person is going to work for another person and be valid for them. So it always comes back to yourself. And that's what taking responsibility means. It doesn't mean that you have to go through life acting like, oh, I'm overly serious. You know, that can be the Saturnian um, type of demeanor. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about realizing that you are in the driver's seat like the King of Wands. Okay. Thanks, you guys. Take care. Bye.